Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Fertility Rewire podcast. Now, you would have heard me talk before about fertility massage therapy, womb massage therapy, and how I support my clients online with this. So it's something I used to do on a one-to-one level, but increasingly as I've developed my practice and worked more within the Fertility Rewire coaching module, it's something that I do online. And lots of other fertility massage, womb massage practitioners are doing the same. But of course you can access one-to-one therapies. And the reason that I'm saying that specifically is that Andrea Clarke, a wonderful woman and practitioner, a good friend and colleague, we are chatting in this episode about fertility massage, womb massage therapy. And we recorded this, I'm getting to the point, we recorded this in, I think it was February or March, so it was pre-lockdown. And we took the decision not to release it yet because we're talking about the therapy itself and also about practitioner training. And obviously, as things have developed, more and more online resources are becoming available. But there is still that, desire or preference in people to have that one-to-one therapy. So that's why we delayed the episode. But I'm really, really excited to share that episode now. So as I said, Andrea and I discuss fertility massage, womb massage therapy itself. We discuss how practitioners like myself and Andrea are able to support you online and other practitioners as well, where you can find a practitioner, and also if you're interested in becoming a fertility massage practitioner, how you can access that information as well. So it's a really, really powerful therapy. It's incredible on so many levels, but I'm going to let you find that out in the episode itself. Hello and welcome to the Fertility Rewire podcast, a place for information and discussion around topics relevant to fertility. I'm your host, Kat Stevens. I'm a fertility coach and founder of the Fertility Rewire program, and I'm passionate about people being given sufficient information to enhance their own fertility awareness. I am so excited to be having a chat today with somebody who I know professionally, and I'd like to say personally, the most beautiful spirit I've met, actually, and that is Andrea Clarke. Hello, Andrea.
Hello, Katrina. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm all good. Good. We've been chatting before we started recording about travels and holidays and experiences. So we're all thinking of sunnier climes, aren't we, as we do this? Now, Andrea is a practitioner and trainer for fertility massage or fertility massage therapy. And Andrea works with women and couples in much wider aspects of reproductive health and women's health and the power, the feminine power, which we've said is another episode in itself, if not 5, to be honest. But for this chat today, we're going to be talking specifically about fertility massage therapy. Both from the point of view as someone who might be looking into it to receive it as a therapy, but also later on we're going to chat about if somebody was interested in training in it, and being able to actually provide that therapy. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me, Andrea, how long have you been involved in fertility massage therapy?
Oh, gosh. I think I was one of the original people that Claire Spink trained. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it was moving from abdominal sacral massage training into fertility massage, and then we've kind of moved into womb and fertility massage. So it's made it much more available to a wider audience. So it's made it more available to women who are experiencing any of the conditions which then might be affecting their fertility or not. So things like endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So it just widens the arena where we're able to practice.
Of
But
course.
that was back in, I believe, I'm going to say 2014, 2013, 14, so 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And I've been training for the last 2 years.
Okay, perfect. And
Yeah.
I'm a practitioner myself, and I've recently had my refresher training with yourself, which was marvelous, and always end up getting so much more than just, shall we say, a refresher training. And I think one of the things that is really important here is that this isn't just a technique, is it? It's, you know, it's so more than just a technique. So can you run us through that a little?
Yeah, I think probably because of the intention behind the treatment. I think that's probably really key. And I've just been having conversations about that this morning, actually. So yes, we learn specific techniques and tools. So we work on the lower back, the abdominals and the womb area. So we work all of that key areas in terms of reproductive health. And we learn specific tools and techniques. But we're also employing and able to add into that our own particular scope of specialism that we might already have. So you might be an energy healer, you might be an acupuncturist, and so you can, or you might be a Reiki practitioner. So you're kind of bringing a different, an enhanced level to the treatment that you're offering. But I think also Claire has developed this therapy and included lots of energy techniques and lots of tools to allow you to go in a lot deeper with your clients and really access the emotional level more easily than if it's just a very mental thought process. So I think because we come into it on a more, I would say, a more expansive level, a more emotional, a more energetic level, it means that we're able to access those levels a lot more easily. And I think also because of the areas that we're working. So with traditional, I was just writing a piece about it this morning. So normally when we train in massage therapy, we've all learned working on the abdomen, and myself included. I kind of just didn't touch anybody's abdomen unless I really needed to, unless they were specifically coming for digestive stuff. So it felt too intimate. It felt too not intrusive. Yeah, it just felt too intimate. And I think I can see now why that's the case, because it absolutely is a very intimate, very powerful area. So you're working not just the physical organs, the liver and the spleen and the ribs and the diaphragm and the digestive system. You're also accessing key energy places within the body. So the solar plexus, the sacral chakra. You're working the conception vessel, which is the vessel in acupuncture, which travels all the way down to the perineum. You're accessing what we refer to as the mother line. So you're accessing and listening to not just the physical body, what's happening with the physical body, but I think it means you're able to access things on an emotional level more easily. And because we know that, you know, where we come from, most of us as complementary practitioners, is we understand that the physical body is just it's kind of like the last port of call. It's the physical body is saying, hello, there's something that's not quite right. There's something that's calling for your attention. We need to kind of look at this. And then when we're able to do that, then we start to understand that whatever is happening physically has come about from energetic or emotional or mental level issues. And so, you know, we need to be addressing the core places of where this began, as opposed to just seeing it as a physical, because I think, you know, that's working the physical body is absolutely important, and it's a really good way to to get somebody to be more present in their physical body, because that's where the healing takes place. But if you're just working on a physical level, for me, you're kind of missing a trick. You're missing a lot of tricks.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really, the reason it has more of an expansive availability for people is because that's how it's been set up. And that's kind of Claire's sphere of genius and specialism, if you like, that, and that's why we're all bringing our own skills to this. So we're all adding into the pot, which is women fertility massage.
And what you said there about the body saying, excuse me, hello, and we talk about this, and I've talked about this so much, about these little whispers and little nudges, or completely take you by the shoulders and shake you until you listen. But we don't always know what that is, and I don't think we always need to know, and I think that's something that I found with fertility massage clients. Sometimes people have come to see me really liking that very physical nature of it, that we're addressing the structures in the back. We're looking at the nerve supply and the blood supply to the uterus and how that might be affected. We're looking at the liver and supporting the liver because of all the stuff it's got to sort out, and the toxins and the hormones and everything, and the womb, and we'll come on to that. But what is really profound to me is that at some point they're expecting a physical release, but the emotional releases that occur are amazing, are absolutely incredibly amazing, and never the same for two people. Never
absolutely
the same.
Not, because our experiences are always so different. So the places that those originated in are completely unique. Completely unique, and so you wouldn't really expect the releases or the how one experiences it. You wouldn't expect that to be the same. I think, interestingly, that's one of the reasons why they, when they do research on these kind of therapies, where you don't always get the results that you might anticipate from how we experience it in practice, because you're doing it in a much more 3 of those, 4 of these, 6 of these, 7 of these, and in reality, when we're in practice, we don't do it like that, do we?
No.
We work more intuitively, because we're really listening with our hands. But it absolutely, as you say, it is still a very physical session, and absolutely some people's needs is a much more physical treatment. And I think if we're good practitioners, we understand that that's the case, and we work differently depending on the client that is in front of us in that session at any one time. So it has the ability to be able to move between a very physical treatment or a much more energetic, depending on the need and the comfortability of the client, because there's no point in taking clients into an energetic realm if that's not where they're at. There's no point in that. We can kind of nudge or whatever, but if somebody comes in and their expectation is a very physical treatment because they are presenting with very physical needs, then that's the way that we do the work.
And thinking about those physical needs, you mentioned endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, fibroids as well is a key area, and I've come across quite a few people recently who, following on from their first birth, so when we're looking at secondary fertility issues, maybe there was an emergency cesarean section or some birth trauma within that, it's so incredibly powerful for that level, isn't it, in terms of adhesions. What else are we working on when we're physically working that womb area specifically? What do you...
The womb area, well, we can... Do you want me to get into a more energetic kind of description here, or do you want me to talk, are you more interested in the actual physicality, so things like scar tissue and adhesion? So if you've had things like a C-section, how that might impact on the positioning of the womb.
Give me both, Andrea. Give me both. Go with what comes. Give me both.
Okay. So on a physical level, in terms of secondary infertility, when we've had things like miscarriage, baby loss, gosh, there can be all manner of physical issues in terms of how the womb space herself has healed, whether there is any scar tissue. And definitely there will be scar tissue if you've experienced a C-section. How the baby has actually physically arrived can really impact. It could impact on the position of the womb herself. So it could be encouraging the womb to be tilting more backwards or more forwards, or be stuck in position to the right or to the left because of scar tissue that has been experienced from that. So just because we've had a vaginal birth doesn't in and of itself mean that there's going to be no damage, in inverted commas, to the structures. It can make a difference, how we've carried that pregnancy, to the ligaments and the ability of the ligaments to hold the womb in place. Because basically the womb is a wandering is a wandering organ that really is kind of floating in the pelvis. I think sometimes we might think it's in kind of quite a structured place, but it's held by a variety of different kinds of ligaments, and they can just get overstretched or over softened by lots of amounts of relaxants in the body in a form of pregnancy. But also how we've actually experienced the birth itself, whether that was a positive experience or not, can have a massive impact on our ability to conceive a second time. And I know you work with a specific technique to address birth trauma, as do I, and that's really powerful. There's loads of techniques I employ with that, which can be really profoundly helpful in terms of birth trauma. Actually, for some clients, just spending that time debriefing, not in a hospital setting, not with any space where you actually formally experience the trauma, but just to be heard and witnessed. Because I think, often women will be told, well, what's the matter with you? Why? What do you mean you've experienced birth trauma? You're healthy, you've got a healthy baby, get on with it and move on. But as we know, the issue is in the tissue. And, for some women, unless that's addressed in some way, shape or form, that can have a massive impact on their ability to conceive again, because there's just so much trauma being held in the body.
And if it's primary fertility, what could adhesions, scar tissue, positioning can all still be there, can't it? And the person doesn't know. I mean, I talk a lot about posture and how we hold ourselves in that area and the tension we hold there. But that can be really key, can't it? And perhaps more on an emotional level.
Once we start working with our hands, so we've taken our consultation and we've asked our maybe questions to go in a little bit deeper and find out if there's anything that's happened traumatically to the body in the past, things like falls on the sacrum and the coccyx, any bike accidents, horse riding accidents, car accidents, whether there's been any issues with the appendix, or whether there's been any former abdominal surgery in any way, shape or form, because all of those things potentially have the capacity to impact on things like scar tissue and adhesions. I've worked with lots of women who've had issues with appendix or appendicitis, or even possible appendicitis, and actually it's an issue with the ovaries. They're pretty, appendix is situated pretty closely to the right ovary. And some people's bodies just produce an awful lot more scar tissue than other people. You know, their bodies just lay it down, layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. So working to soften that and release that, because that's all going to be encased in the fascia. So the fascia will be exerting lots of pressure and torsion on the organs and the muscles as well. So just working into a depth so that you can start to release some of the tension from the fascia, and actually go in a little bit deeper and start softening and releasing the scar tissue, because obviously the scar tissue just kind of lays down as quickly as possible, and it's pretty haphazard the way it does it, because it's meant to kind of bind, and that's what it does do, doesn't it? But then if there's any inflammation in the system, for example with things like endometriosis, then you'll get a stickiness and a tackiness, and then one structure starts sticking to another structure, so that when you kind of try and move your torso and twist, you'll feel a pulling somewhere, maybe in the abdominal area. And so really key to that, because that's going to be a very congestive issue. So that's going to mean, in likelihood, we're not getting a good nerve response, we're not getting good blood flow, aside from the positioning of the womb herself. So doing the abdominal massage is really going to work on those key physical issues that are going on. Plus, obviously, then you're working the digestive system, because we know that the digestive system is intimately related to the reproductive system. I mean, obviously all systems in the body are intimately related. That's a human body for you, isn't it?
Unfortunately, not always viewed that way in medical terms, because we've compartmentalized everything, haven't we?
Exactly, because you are, you know, and that's a very mental way of doing it, but that's the way it's set up, isn't it? So you go to a gastroenterologist, you go to a fertility specialist, you go to a this specialist. So all the systems of the body are segregated and separated off. And I've often said it, there's nobody who kind of oversees the whole lot and goes, oh, do you know what? Maybe this is connected to this, is connected to this. So women will often go to all these different specialists, and nobody's there going, oh, maybe all of these things are connected. Often one of my questions, do you think actually that your digestive stuff and your fertility stuff and your this stuff, do you think they might all be connected? And they often go, well, that's what I've kind of thought, but no one's ever said that to me. But now you're asking me, yeah, absolutely, it's connected.
Yeah, and the same with conditions. You put into a box, aren't you, straight away, whether it becomes explained that you have a condition, you know, endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids, whatever, or it's unexplained, and it's this acceptance that unexplained is a diagnosis, and which it's not. It just means look deeper, look further, and let's look at the mind as well. You know, let's look at that interplay between the mind and the body, which, you know, we've touched upon with the emotions, and often it's such a big subject, Andrea. It's so huge, and often you don't know what those emotions are until they're released, and it's such a personal experience, and as a therapist, I know you feel exactly the same. It is such a sacred place to be when you are doing this therapy, and when you are working with somebody rather than doing, you're working with someone during the session, and that exchange of energies, which often the client may not know is occurring, but it's such a powerful therapy. And so if people wanted a fertility massage therapist, then they can access that, can't they, via the Fertility Massage Therapy website, and I'll put the link in the notes. So practitioners are registered there, and not just in the UK. We have practitioners in Australia, and where else, remind me?
Australia, Italy, France, Belgium, New Zealand, South Africa. There is going to be a training actually in South Africa later this year, so that'd be wonderful, because currently we've only got one practitioner out there. I think that's kind of
which is a good covering, but we could
it's a
get
pretty
more.
good. Oh, and Bali as well. We've got practitioners in Bali and Thailand. Sorry,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah, perfect. And with so people can access that. I'm keen to come on and talk about the training, which you've just mentioned there. So people can access that. If somebody can't get hold of a fertility massage therapist near to them, that they can comfortably travel to. I mean, we do have good coverage, don't we? But if there isn't someone they can comfortably get to, there are ways that they can perform some aspects of the self massage themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they can get access to that sort of information via the website as well.
Well, I think Claire does have some products available for you to do self massage, and I think that's really helpful. So I think most of us as practitioners will show our clients how to do the self massage.
Yeah.
What I do is I have written instructions, and I've got a little video that I send to clients.
Me too.
We know that fertility isn't just, the physical thing. We do need to be looking at lifestyle. We do need to be looking at nutrition, and the food we're eating and lifestyle. It's all playing a part. So, we are holistic practitioners, are we not? So that means we're not just looking at one aspect, and some of us maybe look at more aspects than others, but essentially we're saying, the body is multi-leveled, and so the issues need to be addressed from multiple directions. And I'm a great one in saying, okay, we need to be looking at this from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. And then really, if that's an invitation to our clients, some of them are going to naturally be able to pick up some of those places, and whilst they're going to struggle maybe a little bit, or maybe find it a little bit too challenging to go into other areas to begin with, and maybe that's that's for part of the journey a little bit further down if it's still necessary. But yeah, we need to be looking at it from lots of different angles, and the self massage can be a really good one. It's really nice when the husbands perform it for their wives. That's a really lovely way of working together.
The thing that I find is so powerful about self massage, it's about being able to connect with that part of your body.
Absolutely.
A part that you may feel has been letting you down, a part that, every month after month is not giving you what you want. And actually, all she wants to do is produce a baby, because that's what your womb is there for. And it's
I would also add to that, it's our procreative and our creative center.
Yeah.
So it's, so for those women who are not able or choose not to have children, it doesn't kind of go, well, it's of no value. It's still of absolute value.
Yes. But
And
that's key what you say about creativity, because that can be a sign to somebody when that creative side is stilted in some way, isn't it? And so on. And obviously, when I say it was designed for a baby, obviously there is that mammal purpose there, and it is down to us with choice as to what we do. The tigers in the wild don't necessarily have the choice. That's just that innate sense for reproduction.
Absolutely.
But we come back to, as you say, that creativity. And I think that self massage, that encouragement of self-care, of putting yourself, of seeing yourself as important, as being nurtured, of being held.
Absolutely. It's a key question in my consultation form. What is your self-care routine? And it can be quite insightful to how that question is answered or not. Sometimes it's actually left blank, which is even more insightful.
Yeah, that's very telling in itself, isn't it? And intriguing.
Yeah, some people that they genuinely like, I don't fully understand what you mean. As women, there is an expectation that we are sorting everybody else's needs. We're probably, in this day and age, we're probably working, we're doing a lot of the stuff around the home, we're doing that, we're multitasking. So there's a lot of energy going externally in an outward direction. And so one of the things we're encouraging is actually to get a little bit better balance and say, let's bring a little bit of attention and awareness to our bodies. Let's give our wombs a little bit of womb love. Let's open up a connection between our hearts and our wombs, because that might be a bit broken, or we might have never known it was a possibility. We've not been shown these things. Our mothers, didn't have this level of awareness. And so we're kind of like first generation really of bringing in the change of how we consider ourselves and how we choose to live our lives and bring some attention and loving awareness into these spaces of our bodies.
I have to pause and take that all in. That's beautiful. It's yes, the first generation. I think that's true. That's beautiful.
Big stuff. It's really big stuff, and I don't think we should kind of, I think we really need to understand that and honor that. We are given the opportunity to make massive differences and changes about how we view ourselves, and it is really important.
It is. I wanted to chat about training. You've mentioned training. You've mentioned that you've got spaces developing in South Africa.
Yeah.
If someone was looking for training a bit closer to the UK,
fair enough.
There's some training there as well. But it's great. There is international training. And training dates are available on the Fertility Massage Therapy website. But something that I found from when I did the training initially, way back when, was I'd trained in Swedish massage therapy, reflexology. I've done quite a lot of other trainings in fertility, reflexology as well. And then when I came on the training, I just was I had a massive emotional crisis that happened during the training that has served me very well since, but incredibly emotional. But it's not a technique, and you mentioned that about doing 6 of these and 5 of these and 4 of these. So it's not for everyone, is it?
No, absolutely. And I think, that is about us having our own sense of what feels good to us training wise and what doesn't. So, you might want something that is more evidence-based, and that's absolutely fine. You choose, and it's the same with when you choose what practitioner you want to work with. You look at their website, and you maybe look at their Facebook page, and you maybe listen to something that they've some like little video that they've posted, and you develop a kind of, is this sitting well with me? Does this feel comfortable for me? And it's the same with the training. Having said that, a lot of people will read what myself and the other trainers have to say and immediately go, that's for me. This is really calling to me. And that's kind of like, what system is it in us that we go, yes, that's calling me, that I need to do that training. But there's some innate pull within yourself, and you just read it and you go, I need to do that.
Yeah, and
that really calls to me.
It is a calling, isn't it? I think
yes,
that's a really good word to call it. And so people who have done this training, people that I know, so maybe an acupuncturist, herbalist. Is it herbalist or naturopath? I never know.
Both. We have both.
That's yes. Reflexologist, massage therapist. There has to be some level of anatomy and physiology knowledge to
yes,
access the training?
absolutely. So we've had the course accredited now, and so if your calling is, you may say be a yoga practitioner, but your calling is to work in women's health, and so we've set it up with a company called ThinkTree, which has basically certified the whole of the course. So any bits that you haven't got in terms of anatomy and physiology or business, or massage skills, you can now access all of that via the Fertility Massage Therapy.co.uk website. But it also means there's things in place so that you can still do the training, but you've got all these other bolt-ons which are really key and necessary for you for insurance purposes, and also for you then to be able to go away, do your case studies, do your modules online, so that you can actually, present as a practitioner. Yeah.
And the support afterwards amongst practitioners is amazing, isn't it? There's
Absolutely.
a wonderful spirit amongst the practitioners, and
well, I think there's 500 of us now, so we have a secret Facebook group, and there's multiple posts on a daily basis. There's not really a day that goes by that nobody's posted, and it's a really supportive place. So no question is too small, and lots of other interesting stuff, other interesting questions are brought to the table. So, the practitioners, we've just got such a vast wealth. We've got GPs in there, we've got teachers in there, we've got hypnotherapists, we've got a massive yoga practitioners, a massive range of skills and tools. So there's generally somebody that if you're asking a question, there's going to be somebody in that group that's going to be able to support you in that. So it's a beautiful, it's a womb sisterhood. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it is beautiful. And when, do you know off the top of your head when the next training is?
There is training in London, which I believe that is full. I think that's in the next few weeks. And then the next training after that is in Bristol. I've got a real block on the dates, but I believe it's the 12th to the 15th of June. And that's in Bristol. That's with myself and Leora Leboff. Then I think will there be more training in the UK? Probably in London later on in the year, but I'm not sure about that one.
But dates will be on the website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to the dates. I'm having issues.
No, but I'll link to that in the notes. So that's absolutely fantastic. So I think we're going to bring this to a close now. There is so much more we could talk about, but what I wanted to give people today was an awareness that it's available, that's a therapy that's available, small bit of information about what's involved, the physical, the emotional, the holisticness of everything, the training, the support for practitioners once trained, and where they could go to find this information. But what I do need to let people know, Andrea, is where they can find you if they wanted to seek out you as a practitioner or know a little bit more about you. So the name of, where do you sit on social media? Are you on?
I'm kind of like all over the place on social media. So I've got, my website is rootmedicine.co.uk.
Perfect.
And my Instagram is Root Medicine. So I'm actually in the process of writing a 3-part post about women fertility massage. So part 1 went out this morning. Expect part 2 and part 3, all things being equal, later on in the week. I kind of on Twitter, but it's not really my platform. And then I'm on Facebook as Root Medicine as well.
Perfect. So I'll put all of that in the notes as well. so people can find you.
Thank you.
And if they want to know anything else about training, then they can have a look at the website, or maybe
More than welcome to message me. Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. So I shall say goodbye for now. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will chat again. Definitely.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. Really enjoyed it.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. You've been listening to the Fertility Rewire podcast with me, Kat Stevens. If you wanted to find any further details, then you can check out the website, fertilityrewire.com, or find me on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest at Fertility Rewire.